Hot. Still very hot. Is that our cold open? This is American goulash or Slumgullion or Beefaroni. It is essentially a one-pot meal involving beef, onions, garlic. There's a lot of variation about what you do after that. So I'm doing mine with 2 pounds of ground beef, 2 cups of beef broth, 2 large cans of whole peeled tomatoes crushed by hand, 1 big yellow onion chopped up, about 6 garlic cloves chopped up, and 1 whole large green pepper. Also, your classic Italian seasoning, sort of dried seasoning mix. And then we've got paprika and some elbow macaroni from our good friends at Semolina Artisan Pasta. First things first, pan over medium heat. You're gonna just pour in enough olive oil, or really any oil you want, just enough to coat the bottom of the pan. And then we're gonna throw in our chopped up onion, our 6 cloves of garlic. We're gonna start these off together first, just to get them kind of sweated out, and then we'll add in our beef. I'm not gonna go too crazy on the salt to start because we're using bouillon powder and stuff like that, so I wanna control the salt a little more. With a one-pot meal, if you add too much salt, there's not a lot you can do other than add more food to it. All right, so this is now just slightly sweated out, and I'm gonna add in the bell pepper. And another little pinch of salt. A little black pepper never hurt anybody. Gonna let this go until it gets nice and softened up. All right, so you'll see that this onion is now getting kind of semi-translucent, so we can keep moving this thing along. I'm gonna hit it with a hefty pinch, like, I don't know, tablespoon or so of smoked paprika, and a nice little pinch of Italian seasoning. Then we'll kind of let these spices toast for a second before we add our beef in. Now we're gonna add 2 pounds of American ground beef. This is an 80-20, which is what you kind of use for a classic burger grind in general. You could use a leaner beef if you want, but I mean, come on, we're eating American goulash here, folks. That extra 10% of fat in your beef is gonna just make it taste better. Some people would add tomato paste in here. If you wanted to do that, you would have done that already. You'd make a little corner, put a little oil in, toast tomato paste, squirt it in there, and then keep moving. And you could do that, and it would be very good. But Ben, tell them why we're not doing it.
We don't have any.
Yes, I used way too much on another episode, and I forgot about it. But frankly, I think it'll be really good this way. And I kind of like the idea of it being a little bit of a brighter American goulash. So now we're just gonna let this go until the beef loses all of its raw color. So we got a few more minutes on this. We can hit it with a little more salt though. Now we can add our tomatoes. This is just 2 cans of whole peeled tomatoes crushed by hand. Oh, and don't forget folks, they charge you for the tomatoes on the inside of the bowl. We're just gonna bring this to a simmer and then cover it and let it cook for about 20 minutes. And then we'll add our broth, our noodles, and hope that it all fits in the pot. When we're tasting this now, we're not tasting it for seasoning. We're tasting it for like the texture of the beef and the vegetables being cooked through and soft. I want it to be slightly undersalted because I'm adding beef bouillon powder or beef broth, whatever it is, to it, which is salty. Tender, light, kind of just tastes like a really mellow beef soup. If this was like ground turkey, you could say this was health food right now. I don't know why this idea that beef is worse for you than turkey. Anyway, no one cares. But basically now we're gonna bring this back up to a simmer. And that now is all the salt we're adding to it. From here on out, if it needs to be looser, we'll just add water from here on out. This is Semolina Artisan Pasta made right here in Los Angeles. They are supporters of the show and of the book, and we are very happy to have their support. Pouring in this whole box of macaroni. And this should cook pretty fast, so we're just looking for, no! We're just looking for this to cook. And if it starts to get a little dry, we'll just add more water to it until it's ready. And then we will have Beefaroni a la Slumgullion in the style of American goulash. And now we're just gonna cook this guy. As we say on the show, cook until cooked. So this is now quite al dente, which is right where you want it to be because it's gonna keep absorbing and going. But now, look at this. This is a complete one-pot meal. This is our beefaroni, our slumgullion, our American goulash. So let's sprinkle in some parsley. Some people like a raw parsley on top, and I often do, but in this case, I kind of want it to cook in there. Give it a little more color, a little more brightness. American goulash. All right, here we go, guys. The one-pot meal. Very hot, very tasty. I like how kind of bright it is. You don't expect it to be this bright. And usually when I've had like a beefaroni, it's usually very sugary. It's very like kind of cloying. It's kind of thick and syrupy. This feels more brothy. This is one of those like, you look at everything goes into it, you're like, what's gonna go wrong? Like, look, if you wanted to be fancy boy, I could have made a fresh beef stock and done that from scratch. Or even frankly, chicken stock would have been really good in this too. But this is just a really nice, hearty, quick, filling one-pot meal using nothing but, what, like 11 ingredients? This 11 ingredient one-pot meal, but it's delicious. I can see the desire to add cheese to this, but I kind of feel like it'll make it very heavy. And then just to make life heavier, let's stir in some cheddar cheese for the full beefaroni experience. I mean, it's certainly not going to be bad. It's very good. I think I like it better without the cheese. It's like this is now Wisconsin winter, like cheddar soup vibes. It's good with the cheddar, I get it, but I think I like it better without. And actually, I'm going to be a little fancy boy. I probably would think it's even better with Parmesan cheese. This is a beautiful one pot, throw it all together, feed a big family, get them going, eat this up, and then go work the ranch or watch Netflix.